Hello and welcome everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to the end of another work week or trading week in that regard and another Sectors Made Simple webinar. I'm pleased to be here with you all today with a very interesting topic because, well, we do a lot of these webinars. We have done over 150 of them now. And we've covered a lot of information, and over time, a lot of this information has covered how to use Sectors Made Simple to invest. But today I wanted to take a moment to not so much keep giving new information, but instead to review some information. Today I wanted to talk about 3 ways that we can use Sectors Made Simple to invest. But more importantly, I want these 3 ways to be easy, where you don't need to know very much to start using that information. One is extremely simple, one is a little bit more involved, and then one a bit more involved. But you could learn how to do all 3 of these examples within a day. And then rule number 2. It should take less than 10 minutes to go from I woke up and made my cup of coffee to I now know what I'm going to invest in. So we're going to do that today. We're going to talk about 3 ways that we can use the things and information that Sectors Made Simple has to offer to find investment opportunities. All of these methods are simple to learn, simple to use, and of course, take less than 10 minutes to go from opening your computer to having your investment decision. So, I hope you all are ready for this topic. We're going to go through all 3 of them, pros and cons of each, and much more. So, thank you all so much for being here with me today. Let's get straight into the action, shall we? So, we're going to get started with our disclaimer. It's not fun, it's not interesting, but we need to say it. The purpose of today's webinar is to give educational examples. These are not strategies that we're trying to sell. The purpose here isn't to promise you profits. It's to show you how you can start using this information simpler. And because of this, it's best seen through examples. So please take today as educational examples, not as financial advice or any sort of recommendation. Past results, which we'll look at today, we'll look at what some of these strategies or some of these trading methods would have resulted in. We can't promise that's going to happen in the future. So please always do additional research before making any investment decisions. If the strategy seems interesting to you, backtest it yourself. You'll understand what that means in a moment here. But test it for yourself. Don't just take my word for it. Test, see if it still works. Always do your own research before making an investment decision. Cool? Cool. So, the goal for today's webinar is pretty straightforward. We do a lot of webinars here, but really our goal is simple. We want to help you to invest quicker and simpler. And today's webinar will show off exactly that. Today we're going to talk about 3 different examples of ways that we can use the information, the resources, and the technology that Sectors Made Simple offers to invest. The one requirement for each of these methods is that from the moment you open your computer to the moment you have your decision, it should take less than 10 minutes. Now, a couple of just notes before we get started. These strategies, again, are educational examples. These are not guaranteed strategies that are going to give you profit in the future. Past results cannot guarantee future performance. So while I've given you 3 examples, or while I'll give you 3 examples in this webinar, I know these methods. I've used these methods. I use these methods. But on purpose, I have not found the answers today. Usually when I come up with a webinar, I like to know ahead of time what I'm going to talk about. Okay, I want to show this, this, and this. Oh, that's a really cool thing. Let's take a look at that too. Today's not that. I prepared what I wanted to talk about and the topics, but I don't know the answers. I can't tell you right now what is going to be the choice for method number 2. I purposefully did not find that, so that when I'm going in and looking at all of this information, we are all looking at it together. I want this to be a real example of me going in and looking at the matrix or looking at this information and finding opportunities. I want to show you that for real. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to show you how we can use the matrix and sectors made simple to invest simpler. No preparation, no I already know the story. We're going to do it transparent, directly, and personally. So, with that said, let's get straight into method number 1. Method number 1 is going to use something called backtesting. And the reason that we do this is because the easiest way to get started investing is to follow rules. You do this, then you do that, and finally you do this. Now, that works, but how do we know how well it works? That's where this idea of backtesting comes in. So what we're going to talk about is a way of using our information, Sectors Made Simple's information, to very quickly do that step 1, step 2, step 3 process. So let's first off, before we get into the whole idea of what the strategy is, for those playing along at home that may not know about what the matrix is, let's talk about that. For subscribers of Sectors Made Simple, this is the main thing that we have to offer you. It is our piece of information that is called the relative strength matrix. Every day we look at 11 market sectors, so groups of companies within the S&P 500 and the S&P 500 itself, so that we get a single picture of who our leaders are, both short-term and long-term. If you're interested to learn more about how we make the matrix, on our website, learn.sectorsmadesimple.com, you will find a playlist. I will show you where that is right now. So on learn.sectorsmadesimple.com, under courses, there is a course here that is called Introduction to the Matrix. It is 100% free. All you need to do is make a free account and you can learn all of the information you need to not only understand what this is saying, but how you could make one for yourself if you had the time and desire to do so. Now, having a picture today is great. You could take a picture of my face. Ta-da! Jonathan looks like this. Long brown hair, little bit of a beard. But wouldn't it be nice to know what's changed? Now, again, you can look at me and say, I have long brown hair and a beard. But a week ago, I had also slightly shorter brown hair and much less of a beard. To know what is changing over time and to be able to look at how that picture is changing, we have what's called momentum. This lets us see what is changing in this picture. It's like the game of I Spy, where you need to find everything that's changed. We can do that from today's matrix to a previous one. In this case, this is yesterday's matrix. So this is saying what has changed between yesterday and today. You can also look at it 1 week ago, so you can see what's changed from today compared to 1 week ago. 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months, and if that's not good enough, you can put in any date you want and see how today's matrix compares to that date. Pretty cool, right? So this is what we call the matrix. So whenever I say the matrix, I'm not talking about the movie series The Matrix. Please don't sue me. All I'm talking about here is the relative strength matrix. This thing right down here. Cool? Cool. So now we know what the matrix is and what it looks like. Let's now quickly talk about this idea, backtesting. What does that actually mean? Well, when we create that list of rules for us to follow to trade with, we have Rule 1, Rule 2, Rule 3. That's good. That tells us how to invest, but not how well it will do. We can't answer that. Remember, past results, what's happened before, can never guarantee future performance. What's going to happen? We can't promise that following Rule 1, Rule 2, Rule 3 is going to result in profit. So what can we do? We're not just going to, this isn't Vegas, we're not just blowing on the dice and hoping for the best. Instead, what we can do is give those rules, Rule 1, Rule 2, Rule 3, to our little robot. And we have a little robot that will then travel back in time and invest using those rules. That robot will then, it's a time-traveling robot, all right? Just bear with me here. It can time travel. It will go all the way from whenever we wanted it to now and say, had you invested with these rules, you would have had this much profit. It tells you, using those rules, Rule 1, Rule 2, Rule 3, how well would you have done in the market? It's not perfect. It will not promise that we're going to make money in the future, but it's as close as we can get to having an idea of what to expect. So with that said, let's talk about this first strategy. This strategy has been backtested, and I'll run the backtest with you all so you can see it, good, bad, and everything in between. So our strategy is this. Trade Friday mornings. Go in when you're making your trade, sort the momentum for 2 weeks, and take the sector with the highest X count momentum, I'll show you that in a minute, that is bigger than 1. If 2 sectors have the exact same X count momentum, take the one with the higher total count. Let me show you what that looks like. Again, this is an example. Again, this is an example. In reality, I encourage you to make changes, make your own decisions, tweak it so that it trades the way that you want to and when you want to trade. But I want to give a starting point. So here's that example. You open up the matrix. It's time to go find your investing. Momentum, 2 weeks. Sort by total count, XLY has the, or sorry, sort by X count, and XLY has the highest X count momentum. By XLY, I'll see you next Friday. I don't actually have a watch, but that was probably about 30 seconds. Let's pretend that the best relative strength, or the best momentum that we had was 2. If we had 2 as our best, we would then go up here and we would sort by total count. And we would take the one with the higher total count. So we have financials, which is XLF, and real estate, which is XLRE. Here's financials, here's real estate. We would have bought financials. That's all there is. It's really that simple. So how would this simple strategy have done? Again, the beauty of a back-testing strategy is that we can see how would it have done if we traded with this in 2021 and the beginning of 2022. So let's go and look at that, shall we? Behind my face here is a menu. In this menu is going to be an option for backtest. Right there. Now, once we're here, oh, there's a question. Compramos el sector y se vende en una semana. Sí, puedes vender el sector pasado en la misma día como el sector nuevo. La única cosa que tienes a mantener un ojo es no puedes vender el sector nuevo antes de 2 o 3 días después de la primera compra. Tengo un webinario de la semana pasada sobre este tema de trade violations. Este es una cosa interesante, pero tienes que mantener un poco de no sé la palabra, riesgo. Hay un poco de riesgo con esto y antes de usar esta estrategia, recomiendo ver este webinario para obtener más información sobre trade violations y cómo puedes comprar o vender acciones con cuidado de estas violations. Using the strategy without looking at how the market is doing. Correct. Yes. Again, the backtesting strategy, when you are really using this, I encourage you to look at market condition. I encourage you to look at the buy or sell signals, whatever you want to give yourself more information. The more information you give, the better. This is supposed to, again, be a starting point. I know nothing. I want to start learning. Where do I start? This is that starting point. It should not be the end point. Let's say it like that. Jonathan, if we check under X count in the current matrix or positive trend, if there are the two with the same X count under momentum, then you would take the one with the higher positive trend. Or sorry, the one with the higher total count. So again, let's pretend that these sectors did not exist. Just pretend those didn't exist here. If the two best sectors that we had were real estate, actually in this case we'd have 4. Real estate, technology, financials, and SPY. Which one do we buy? Because they all have the best X count of 2. You would come up here and sort by total count. And you'd take the one with the highest total count. So in that case, it would be financials. So rule 1, highest X count momentum 2 weeks, as long as it's 1 or higher. Rule number 2, if we have a tie, buy the one with the higher total count. Okay, Now back to our back testing. Let's test this strategy. I'm going to go back in time to January 1st of 2021. And we're going to end it today. We're going to buy one sector, and we're going to trade every Friday. Now, rule number 1. We want a X count momentum of 1 or more for the 2-week momentum. That's what this is saying. X count, yes, momentum, so use the X count momentum. Have it be at least 1 for 2 weeks. When we have a tie, we want to take the one with the higher total count. Again, this part right now I'm showing as proof, let's say. If you want to learn how to use backtesting yourself, we have plenty of webinars to teach you all about that. So today, again, is just going to be, this is supposed to be, you know nothing, start here. So what we have now is rule 1, X count momentum of 1 or 2 or more, total count of at least 1. What does that give us? Well, if you had invested in the S&P 500 for the last 13 months, you would have ended up with $12,000. If you had invested with this strategy for the past 13 months, you would have ended with $18,345. Does this mean that this is the only strategy that could have made you money? No. A very simple strategy that's slightly different but also works is using the 2-week X count momentum, the 2-week X count momentum of 2 or more in addition to the total count. This would yield similar results. Does this always beat the market? No. Sometimes it doesn't beat the market. Where you see return difference is negative, it doesn't beat the market. But over time, it does outperform the market. At least it has for the past 13 months. Even in 2022, which has been a really, really bad period for the market, it has lost money. This is not going to promise that you always make money. Sometimes there's nothing we can do to avoid losses. We just want to make sure that our wins are bigger than our losses. And even in 2022, we would have still profited about $150. Meanwhile, SPY has lost $700. So is the strategy perfect? No. Is it beating the market in the past 13 months? Yes. Every week? No. Over time? Yes. So, let's now look at the pros and cons of this strategy. The cons are pretty simple. If you're following rules, you're not going to always make profit. So it's hard to know if the strategy is the reason that you're not making profit or if the market is the reason you're not making profit. The other thing is that backtesting is a robot. I just lost every single one of my windows. That is lovely. Give me one moment. Backtesting is not perfect. It relies on you trading same time, same day, every single week. You're a human. You might not trade the same minute of every day. The minute you're not trading exactly like the robot says, you're going to have different results. Also, saying a strategy is successful depends on when you start or end your backtesting. That's why whenever I say, here is an interesting strategy or an interesting example of a strategy, I've tested it over at least 1 year, but also in the past month to 2 months to make sure it works long-term and short-term. Josefina is asking, for the strategy, we don't put a trailing stop. Great question. Can you put a trailing stop? Yes. However, by setting a trailing stop, you do have a risk of running into a good faith violation. To learn more about that, I recommend Friday's webinar, where I cover that in a bit more detail. Now, why are backtesting strategies good? They're easy to understand. You do one thing, you do another thing, you're done. It is the fastest way to use the matrix. And in the past 13 months, it's worked very, very well. The other benefit is, as you learn more about the matrix, you can test your own strategies. You can see, instead of trading every Friday like that strategy does, I only have time on Mondays. Let me find and create a strategy that works for Mondays. And you can test that. This backtesting engine is included for Sectors Made Simple subscribers. There's no limit to how many backtests you can do. So you can create your own strategies that allow you to trade your way whenever you want. Plus, we have over 10 hours of webinars about backtesting, making backtests, strategies to test out with backtesting, exporting and analyzing backtesting results, adding a trailing stop to backtesting results. We have tons of webinars to teach you more. So this can be the start. It's easy to use, but as you learn more, this strategy can grow with you. That's the goal here. I don't want to tell you this is the one strategy you'll ever need. I want to give you starting points so that you can have something to grow with as you learn more through Sectors Made Simple. Let's now go on to method number 2, what I call the SMS spreadsheets. Some people, investing simply with the matrix is easy, but it's only going to give you one sector. What if you prefer to invest in companies? Or what if you're just looking for something new, a new way to find companies? Well, I've worked with a group called the Girasoles to create a group of spreadsheets to help you invest. Each of these sheets does something a little bit different, but many of those sheets work together to carry you all the way from finding an opportunity, finding the buy signal, holding that stock based on your risk and reward, and then seeing how well you've done in the past. So let's go through what this book actually has. Sheets in a book. You can look up ticker symbols to find if they're on buy or sell signals. You can look at sectors and what little groups there are inside of sectors called industries. You can also track companies that you already own. You can track companies that you're interested in owning. And you can track your returns to see how often do you profit, what your average profit is, and more. Let me show you what these spreadsheets look like, and then we can go through an example of how to use this, again, with the limit of 10 minutes. So, get the clock started. The first thing we see here is the signal lookup. I'll come back to this one because we're going to start here with industries. Let's take the strongest overall sector at the moment, shall we? So we can start at the matrix, sort by total count, and we'll say energy is the strongest sector right now. Cool. We go in here and we type in energy. It now gives us a list of all of the sectors, or all of the industries within energy, sorted by their returns in the past week. How much profit have they had in the past week? Thermal coal seems to be standing out here. Has uranium done well this past week? Yes, but all of this red is kind of scaring me. I want to just look at thermal coal. So when you click on the subsector name, you get brought over to FinViz. So we get a list of the companies within that sector, or that industry. We can now go through, if I do this properly, there we go. We can go back to that signals page, and all we need to do is tell it the ticker. So, ARCH, on a buy signal. AREC, not on a buy signal. ARLP, no signal. BTU, no signal. CEIX, no signal. HNRG, no signal. NC, NRP. So right now there's only one chart that is on a buy signal. I want more. I don't just want one. Let's go back. Sector number 2, financials. We're going to go over here again to industries, financials, mortgage finance. That's looking a little scary. Let's go with life insurance. All right. Back to our signals. AAME, AEL, AFL, BHF, BH, those are all going to be the same. CIA, CNO, GL, GNW, GWGH, IHC, LFC, LNC, MDWT, MET. You kind of get the point. All right, we'll call it there. 4 minutes. And we now have 5 companies that are on point and figure buy signals. So let's add these 5 companies to our watch list. So we're going to go here. I'm going to erase what was there. And let's go through. ARCH. Its current price is $114.23. Its double top breakout point, which is where the current column of X's has gone above the previous, 112. It's in a buy signal, and we've told it only we want it to be on a buy signal if it's within 5% of that buy price. So the signal would say buy. But wait a minute, we have other things as well. AEL and AFL. We can go through. This one went on a breakout at $44, but it dropped back down. So it's going to tell us to wait. This chart went on a buy signal at $65. It would tell us to buy. MET and MFC. And all of this is point and figure basics. It's covered in that introduction class. $69. And lastly, MFC, $21. Ta-da! 5 companies, 6 minutes, 4 of which are on point and figure buy signals right now. 1 fell below that point and figure buy signal. What if you're a bit more conservative and you only want it if it's 3%? Nothing changes. What if you're even more conservative? 2%. Se fue el tren. You missed the train. It will tell you when the buy price is outside of your buy range. Again, all of this information is covered in webinars for you, so you're not expected to know anything before you come and join us and start learning. But if we are using that buy range, here's 4 options. 4 are on buy signals right now. From here, you can go in and you would add it to your buy list, and the rest is history. Again, right now, all we're looking at is finding your opportunities. I have webinars all about how to use all of these spreadsheets from me in English as well as the Girasoles in Spanish, where they talk about each one of their spreadsheets that they have made and how to use them. Took us 7 minutes and 45 seconds to go from I know nothing to here are 4 stocks that I can buy right now. Not too bad, right? And it could have been faster. I did some explaining, I did some stuff around the topic. If you were sitting down with your cup of coffee, you now have a pretty good watch list. Now, to tell you the one downside of this, well, really there's 2. One is outside of our control. We use Google Sheets. Google Sheets uses Google Finance. Sometimes Google Finance, they go to sleep. So we need to wake them up. That takes a little bit of time, so sometimes the spreadsheet won't work. Literally just for a few minutes, it won't work. But that's outside of our control. I promise you, if the sheet stops working, it will come back. It will continue to work. If it's not, throw me a message. I'll be more than happy to take a look at it. Now, the actual downside of this spreadsheet. The first example I gave you, the end is an answer. This sector is the one the strategy would say. What I just showed you doesn't do that. It gives you a list and then it tells you based on point and figure buy or sell signals. But it doesn't tell you out of this list of companies, so out of this list of companies, which one do I buy? To answer that, we need to go talk about thing number 3, which we'll come back to after we talk about the benefits of that spreadsheet. Jonathan, is this spreadsheet available? Yes. I have a link to that in the matrix tracking spreadsheet webinar. It is a members webinar, and you can find it on the Learn website. It's going to be under matrix tracking spreadsheet. So I'll quickly head over to the Learn site and show you how you can do that. So learn.sectorsmadesimple.com, click on webinars, and searching matrix tracking spreadsheet. And it's going to be this returns tracking spreadsheet. Yeah, returns tracking spreadsheet. And you can find the links right here to those. I have versions in English and in Spanish. So if you prefer this in English, you have it. Si prefieres este en español, lo tenemos también. You do need a Sectors Made Simple subscription, by the way, to access these webinars. So before we get into method number 3, let's cover the benefits of these spreadsheets. They're not limited to sectors. You can find stocks. You can find industries. And what I didn't show you is you can also find industry ETFs. So if we're looking at technology, and semiconductors is actually doing terribly right now. But say semiconductors was the best industry. There is an ETF for semiconductors that you can then go out and buy. So all of that is accessible in one place, and it all updates real time. So that information you're seeing right now is the real information. I don't go through and type that all out. It's all formulas that update themselves automatically as new information comes in. That's why sometimes it gets a little confused when Google stops giving it information. Everyone with me so far? Any questions? If you do have some questions, put them in the chat. I'm going to have a couple of minutes to go through and answer some of those questions when we're talking about method number 3, custom matrices. Custom matrices, the easiest way to use them is do what the first strategy did for us of giving us an answer for the second strategy that lets us look at companies. Custom matrices, go figure, they're a matrix. They're like the matrix. They look at relative strength. But while the matrix only looks at 11 sectors and the SPY, custom matrices can be made out of a list of over 11,000 companies and exchange-traded funds. Now, this does make it very confusing when you have so many options. Where do you start? Well, let me give you a place to start. Second method, the spreadsheet example. It gave us a list of companies on buy signals. So how do we pick which ones to buy? Let's use a custom matrix to answer that, shall we? Again, this is not a this will always work thing. This is an example of using custom matrices. I did not try and make some big story here to share with you all. I wanted this to be real, as if I had never seen this information before, because I hadn't, to show you what it looks like finding it out in real time. So, let's go over and look at custom matrices. Again, right behind my face, we're going to click on the menu, custom matrix. All right. We can now go and click create matrix and give it some ticker symbols. What ticker symbols are we going to give it? Oh, by the way, start that clock. Start that 10-minute clock. We're going to go and we're going to give it the 5 companies on our watch list. So, in order, we have ARCH, AEL, AFL, MET, MFC. And now we click create. And now our little robots in the back of my house over here, and by that I mean we don't actually have robots here, we're not Santa's workshop, but some robots off in Amazon's warehouse somewhere are now working on that spreadsheet for you. And they'll tell you that. They're off doing their work. So in the meantime, let's answer some questions, shall we? Lo puedo bajar por Excel en mi computadora. No necesitas un programa. Esto es un sitio de Google Sheets. Es en sheets.google.com. Este sitio es el sitio para obtener estas hojas. La única cosa que necesitas hacer es entrar al sitio y clic Make a Copy. Si lo haces clic aquí, puedes usar la hoja. All right, let's go really quickly and let's check on our backtest. These do take about 5 minutes to run. The clock is still ticking, by the way. This is still your 10 minutes. It's still running. So while we wait for it, we can go back and keep working on our cup of coffee and talk about the downsides of custom matrices. We do have a limit. You can only do a custom matrix with up to 7 companies. We just did one with 5, but you can go up to 7. And the biggest thing that I want to say is relative strength is relative. That means that if everything in the market is down, relative strength might still say things are up, just because they didn't do as badly as others. So you always need to look at real profit or loss on charts. If you noticed, that's why we started with the tracking spreadsheet. Because now we actually know these are all in buy signals, or they're all on breakouts. So that handles that, are they actually good, or are they actually going up part. The other thing is that we can't do back testing for these strategies. We need to rely on our own knowledge to say when these strategies are doing extremely well, if they have a bad week, or if it's time to go back to the drawing board. And again, for Sectors Made Simple subscribers, I think I've got, well, I'm not going to tell you how many hours of webinars we have on the topic. We're going to go over and we're going to look at that together. So if we go over to learn.sectorsmadesimple.com, by the way, clock is still ticking. Under webinars, we have 6 webinars on the topic of custom matrices. Many of them are talking about different ways custom matrices can be used. One of them was done at the end of last year, where I talked about here are some custom matrices to keep an eye on in the new year. And then 1 month later, we looked to go see what's changed in those custom matrices. All right. We're done. 5 minutes to run that custom matrix. And we can now click and we can see. Right now, ARCH has the highest total strength. So if you had to say what is the strongest of those companies right now, ARCH. That's the strongest sector relative strength-wise right now. What if you want, instead of right now strength, what if you want to know, I want the one that's improving, the one that's gaining strength? 1 week ago momentum, ARCH. 2 week ago momentum, ARCH. Well then, I think we have a pretty clear answer here. 6 minutes. That's what it took. If you want to take part 2 and this part and squish them together, okay, I'm sorry, we hit 10 minutes. But in that 10 minutes, let's look at what you've done. You found the leading sector, the leading part of the market. You found the strongest industries within the strongest sectors. You found companies in those strongest industries that are currently on buy signals. Those are not me telling you buy signals. Those are charts, buy signals. And then when you didn't know or you wanted help making a decision of which one to buy, you compared them all in real time using today's information to know which of these companies have the highest relative strength and also the lowest relative strength, but also which ones are improving over time. There's a lot here. If you are a little overwhelmed, that's okay. I want to really show you all here the opportunities. And if you feel overwhelmed, that means that you see the ways that this can be used. You're thinking about the ways that you can use this information. Awesome. We want you to be interested. We want you to ask questions. We want you to learn. Learning about investing is fun because it also can be very profitable. Exploring relative strength, both custom matrix relative strength, but also sector relative strength, is an amazing way to learn more about the stock market and find buy opportunities. Again, I'm not just going to say, this is all you ever need, ta-da, you're done. I hope that this is step 1 for you. I want you to now think about this information, find the parts that make you want to learn more. It might not be that simple trading example that I gave at the beginning. Maybe the custom matrix thing is what really interests you. Go to the Learn site, type in custom matrix, and see what webinars we have. If you have questions, email me. We don't have a support team here at Sectors Made Simple. I am the support team. My fiance is the support team. And sometimes our cat that is currently sitting in the box over there, she tries to do support, but she's not very good at it. We are here to help you. And where we can't give you a simple answer in email, we'll do a webinar like this. Today's webinar was requested by you all, wanting to know, there's so much information. Where do I start? Right here. The other place that I recommend to get started is if you go to our website, sectorsmadesimple.com, and you click Help. You will find here 2 guides. A Getting Started guide that will teach you. If you click on this button, it says, I don't know anything, tell me where to get started. We've got your back. If you've been around for a long time, but want to make sure you know all of the basics, this guide is still very, very valuable. Think you've got the basics? Think you want to start investing with Sectors Made Simple? We would love to have you as one of our subscribers. And to help you get started, to learn about what Sectors Made Simple can do for you, we have a new subscriber guide that will walk you through everything you now have available to you as a Sectors Made Simple subscriber. And again, we've done our best to give you the information you need to get started investing simpler with us. But if you have any questions, doubts, or just want to talk strategies, email us. I'm always more than happy to talk with you about all of this. The last thing I want to mention is right now we have a promotion going. So if you're interested in a Sectors Made Simple subscription, we have a current promotion running where if you use promo code SMS10 when you go and purchase a subscription, you'll get 10% off your first purchase. This deal is ending this Tuesday. So you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 4 days to take advantage of this coupon code. This is available not just for our annual subscriptions, but for our 3-month and 6-month options as well. So if you want to get started with investing, but an annual subscription is a little bit more than you want to purchase right now, that's fine. You can get a 3-month or a 6-month. It will give you 10% off that first purchase. So if you buy the annual, you get $75 off your first year. If you buy the 3-month, you get $25 off your first year. For 6-month, you're going to get 10% off of that. It is only for the first purchase though. So after the first period, so after the first 3 months, you will be paying the $249 per 3 months. How about for existing members? In a few months, I have to renew. If whatever price you originally paid for your subscription, for the annual subscribers, is the price we will always give you. We will never offer a price that is better than the price you've got. It is our promise to you that if you have supported us and you have been with us, we will always ensure that you are getting the best deal you can. So if you bought in when the price was $600 a year, as long as you keep your subscription, you will be getting that $600 a year price. If you buy in at the $750 price and we raise the price in the future, we will always honor that $750 price. We are here to help you learn. We're not just here to sell some subscriptions. It is our goal to help you learn how to invest smarter, faster, with confidence, and as cheesy as it is to say, simpler. So, thank you all so much for being a part of our community, regardless of if you purchase a subscription or not. Your support by liking these webinars, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and engaging with us is incredibly valuable, and we appreciate each and every one of you. You all are the Sectors Made Simple family, so thank you all so much for your kindness, for your questions, and for your support. And we will continue to work with you every week to make investing simpler. Thank you all so much. If you have any questions, send us an email, and we'll see you all very, very soon.